Morning, Ralph. Morning, Sam.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Morning Sam, Morning Ralph. We are clocking in today, Chad, with a really cool guest and a really cool topic. This is a topic that has given a lot of technology professionals a lot of anxiety over the years. And it's, how
Myself
to close,
included.
right? How to close a deal with a CFO. It's like equal parts exhilarating and intimidating.
You are dead on. This is one of those elusive things. I think it separates the men from the boys. Not being a sexist here in that statement, if people know what I mean, but like in terms of getting deals done with a brand, especially in the enterprise segment of software, but really at all levels in many cases. So excited, and I really like our guest here, Ned. He's awesome. So excited to have this conversation today.
Ned, why don't we introduce our guest today?
Let's do it.
He's sitting there patiently. Ned Algeo from Multipli Group. It's so awesome to have you here, man.
Thank you for being here, Ned.
Thank you, and it's great to be on the MSMR podcast. I've enjoyed several other podcasts you guys have done, so it's my privilege to be here.
Each and every episode, we try to get a little bit better on each one. So hopefully, maybe this one will be like the golden one. We're going to cross our fingers.
No.
Chad, tell us a little bit about Ned's background. Or Ned, maybe you want to describe for us and the audience your background.
Before wait. I won't give Ned's background or
right.
give his bio. We'll let Ned do that. But I am going to share a fun fact because I wanted to do that because this is a good one. So Ned, everybody, at the age of 14, worked in a banana stand on Balboa Island in California, Southern Cal.
Banana stand.
The banana
stand.
The original.
And this is the banana stand that was the inspiration for the banana stand on Arrested Development. The Bluth family was a recurring gag on the show. So I just thought that was super cool.
And contrary to popularly held belief, I did not have to wear a banana costume in the stand.
See, that just ruined the whole visual now, Ned. Ned, roll with the banana costume.
I can make a fantastic frozen chocolate banana though for you.
Yeah, that's actually pretty good. Yeah.
Ned, you are the CEO of the Multipli Group. Why don't you tell us in simple terms, what do you do?
Sure, yeah. Backing up a bit, I have a very long history in finance and in hospitality, pretty much anything you can think of in finance, up to and including spending 5 years as the chief financial officer of Experience Restaurant Group. We ran over 70 large format Mexican cuisine restaurants around the U.S. And I ended my tenure there early this year and founded the Multipli Group. And we do two things really. One is for various concept size restaurant groups, you name it. We're there to provide capital solutions, whether it be matchmaking, consulting, advice, or in some occasions, actually syndicating funds to provide growth or buyout capital for organizations. The other side of our business, also very interesting, we provide full back office solutions for small to mid-sized restaurant companies. We are a channel partner of Restaurant 365. Currently, we have 4 clients that we manage in various capacities. And really, it's any type of concept in any category we can service. We have a team of 5 great people in the States, and then we have an outsourced team that does a lot of processing work that's also fantastic out in India. So we have the ability to scale and provide pretty much any services that are needed, whether it be accounting, finance, financial reporting, AP, human resources, payroll, pretty much anything that doesn't happen in the 4 walls of the restaurant, we can help manage.
And generally speaking, the things that are the number stuff. At the end of the day, everybody's here to make some money, right? We have to. So you're keeping everybody on their toes, so to speak.
Another way to look at it is anything that's not putting butts in seats, we do, so that the owners and the operator, the people in the field, can focus their time on generating revenue with the business.
And you could have done a lot of different things with your experience and background. Why are you serving the restaurant industry?
It's a great question. So, as you were pointing out earlier, my career started in hospitality at the banana stand. I worked several years during my college days at BJ's Pizza, doing several different roles there. And then I was in about half a dozen different industries following college and got an opportunity in 2016 at Real Mex Restaurants as their head of finance, and realized when I got back into the role that hospitality restaurant was the industry I wanted to be in. And I've staked my claim. And for me at this point, it's a passion for mine and something I'm going to be in forever.
That's awesome. So, as you know, our audience is predominantly restaurant technology companies and a lot of tech founders. And one of the things that we try to do is provide a little bit of insights and guidance for them on their journey as they try to navigate what can be a fairly complicated industry. So when you're talking to restaurants and you're helping them choose the different technologies that are available to them, you're doing that through the lens of a financial expert. What are some of the things that you look for as a financial expert that helps you or satisfies the particular pain points that you might have as a CFO?
Sure. So the number one thing when we're looking at any new product is, are we actually going to be using the product? There's a lot of, I'm sure everyone listening to this can think of instances where a company or a business contracts and gets the hot new technology, but it's not adopted properly by either the corporate office or the folks in the field. And usually that stems from a lack of a champion for that product and a lack of an easy to use interface. So if the folks in the field that need to be using a specific technology are getting frustrated, or it's taking too much time away from helping the guests out in the restaurant,
Yeah.
it's just not going to work. So first and foremost, is this a product that is going to be utilized?
So utilization, number one. Okay. So that's
Number one.
clearly an important thing, right? It could be a hot, new, shiny object. There's a buzz going on about it. But if the reality is, if it's not going to be used, so what do you look for from your teams that will provide you comfort that we're going to be using this? Are you putting any pressure on your team?
Yeah.
Like the champion, right? The champion comes
The
to you. We really
champion,
want this.
it's the passion.
Yep.
I need to know that there is buy-in from the people that are going to be utilizing that software, that solution. And notice I haven't even brought up cost yet. We'll get to that too. If I, as a fiduciary of the business, do not believe that there's going to be success with that software and adoption, and it's going to make a positive impact on the business, then it's not worth the time to start the process of going through what it takes to put ink to paper on that contract.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering if there are certain points in the deal or the contract that you might look for or might want to implement that provide you certain safeguards that.
Sure. Yeah. So something that has been very successful in the past for me is a trial period for something, like with specific benchmarks. So we can see that there's going to be success with the product. A lot of times the salespeople for the various technology companies will focus solely on, okay, how do we get this contract signed? How do we get this deal done? They might be on quotas or whatever. That's not typically the best way to actually convert. If I can see that there's going to be success through some test period or a trial period, there's going to be a much higher level of success in getting me over the hump to then in turn champion that product to whatever stakeholders there may be.
Yeah,
Right.
and that makes sense because as a vendor, as a supplier, you, in theory, should be confident enough in your product and your implementation process that You can absorb the cost of a pilot, prove that it's working before you ask for that signature on the contract. And to
Absolutely.
not do that raises red flags and suspicions, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I've seen a lot of other ways that firms try to get around that, whether it be, oh, you can cancel anytime, or we'll give you the first 3 months free, or, you name it.
Yeah, what do you think
The
about it?
the issue with that is it doesn't alleviate the time and effort from our end of legal reviews, of putting presentations together for our board of investors, or maybe it's something that I need to do a long cost benefit analysis for.
Right.
So there's a lot, regardless of the outs in the contract per se, there's still a lot of effort that goes into it. A
Actually,
much
hold
better
on,
way.
hold on. That's a really interesting point, okay? Because I think that must get overlooked quite a bit by the sales guys on the vendor side, where they're presenting a solution. It could be a fantastic solution and absolutely a perfect fit for the brand, and everybody loves it. But the reality is, on the back end, behind the scenes, the financial team is very often put in a position where they're the ones that have to go up the chain to actually talk about the investment aspect
Right.
of this. And that's not an overnight success story there. There's rungs in the ladder that you have to climb in order to satisfy those that are higher up.
Yeah, and not only that, but whoever it is you're dealing with has a full plate already. In order to take that opportunity up the ladder, that means I'm taking, or whomever it is that's looking at it is taking something else off their plate that needs to get done. You want to be very sure before you're expending that effort that it's going to be successful.
So what are some things that a vendor, partner, supplier can do to help expedite that process? Are you looking for certain, whether it be certain assets or collateral or case studies? What are the things that you need that help you go up that chain?
Sure. A number of things. Of course, other reference points that can be provided, such and such of your competitors uses this product. Always a good one.
Ah,
If there is the ability, like I said, to get a trial done in at least one of the company's restaurants, and we can see that it's successful, that's huge. And then any work that can be done ahead of time with regards to a cost benefit analysis. So taking initial conversations that you've had with the IT folks you're working with, or whomever it is that you're selling to, and penciling out, okay, this is what it actually looks like from a financial perspective, and this is how we're going to help you. So then you've taken a little more work off the CFO's plate, right? So all these things push the process along and take the friction away from the CFO, because the worst situation, and this unfortunately I run into all the time, is the head of IT or someone, a general manager or someone, comes to me and they're like, "Hey, you've got to do this. It's great." And then there's nothing tangible that I have other than them saying it's good and we should do it.
you're not going to
That's
take their
not
word?
Yeah, taking the word, that's not going to cut it,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
yeah.
There's a lot we have to do to package something up to make sense of it for the business.
Ned, that might relate to this question I want to ask you, which is related to order of events, right? Is it the case that the way things get done is you identify your needs, right, and your pain points, and you go shopping for tech and you go looking and evaluating options? Or is it they find you and say, hey, there's this thing you really need. Let's talk about it. What works?
I'll tell you what, if it's coming from me as a need, and you can bring me a solution, that's gonna be a much higher likelihood of success, because that means that I'm dealing with a pain point somewhere,
Yeah.
Mhm.
whether it be with controls or in the financials itself, that I'm seeing something that bring a solution for something that the head of finance or the CEO has a specific pain point for, very high likelihood of success. If it's something that you see as a need, then there's the extra step you're going to have to take of proving out why is this a need? What are the other options to fill that gap? Sometimes it could even be that adding technology might not be the right situation, but maybe it's not the right people in the right places at the right times that can fix it. That's a really great question and something I run into a lot.
Here's something else that I think that's really interesting. And I think that you may be really early in this game. There's so much technology now out there, so much amazing tech that can help restaurants just be better operators. For example, you're a strong partner with Restaurant 365. Now, Restaurant 365, for those that don't know, it's an accounting platform, right?
Yeah.
But
and operations, yeah.
And operations, and back office, of course. Well, here's the thing. Restaurant HQs don't necessarily have all of the talent under their roof to run some of this technology, right? To make this stuff hum. That's where the Multipli Group comes in, right? Where let us run your R365 for you. And so are you working directly with the restaurants, or are you working with Restaurant 365 and they're farming this work out to you? How does that work?
No, all the clients we're working with right now are through our own industry network.
Okay.
And the reason we use Restaurant 365, it really is holistic in the way that it connects our team with the field. So everything from inventorying to recipes to the accounts payable, all of that is done through the same system. And ultimately, because it is end to end, the financials reflect exactly what we're doing all day, every day. The system is real time. So on any given day, at any given point in time, I can tell the restaurants in our ecosystem how they're performing, where the issues are, what part of the business processes are being missed. And
Right.
It's just been incredibly helpful. And to your point with regards to corporate headcount, until you reach that enterprise level of 10, 20 restaurants, depending on sort of the volumes of those restaurants, it doesn't make financial sense to staff a headquarter with people. Like having your own accountant, it doesn't make much sense. So you can farm that work out to us, and we're able to scale it across other businesses and provide enterprise level support to small
Now,
businesses.
this is a really interesting model. You can't be all things to all people, Ned, right? So you really need to pick your
Right.
spots. You need to pick your tech. Certainly, if you're going to work with Restaurant 365, there might be a conflict of interest there with some other accounting platform that. How is it
Yeah.
that, yeah. So are there other tech platforms that you're working with? Or where do you see this going?
Let's dive into that a little. So we are restaurant specific, as is Restaurant 365. And Restaurant 365, the one area where there could potentially be conflict would be on point of sales, which is also the one area that they don't compete in. So they integrate with essentially every POS system on the market. They also integrate with something like 500 different in the industry, far and away the most integrations that are out there. Those integrations minimize the amount of effort that the field has to do with invoicing, minimizes the amount of effort from an accounting standpoint. So from an efficiency perspective, it's really, in my opinion, the way to go.
Yeah.
With regards to other ERP systems, they will work. That said, for my specific business model and the ability to scale, it makes much more sense for my team to be experts in that system and be able to jump from client to client
Right.
very frictionless and smoothly.
That makes perfect sense. And for Chad, like we're a HubSpot shop, right? So when we're working with clients and they said, oh, we use Marketo and we're inside of Salesforce, so it makes it really easy for us to say, well, we're probably not a fit because we're HubSpot. We are dyed in the wool, decades long users and believers. And I think with that, it is a double-edged sword. You have some true expertise and you know your craft, but at the same time, there might be some opportunities that are just simply not a fit.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
And in our process, we will have an initial interview with prospective clients. And frankly, we're not going to be the right fit for everyone. And we'll let our client, those prospective clients know at the time that, we're not the right fit. We're not going to try to push a square peg into a round hole. And we want what's best for everyone at the end of the day.
That's a great way to end this segment, Ned. I think we should go to break right now, Paul, if you think, and then I would say, Ned, I've got a question for you as soon as we come back.
Yeah, let's take
Good.
a break, and when we get back, we're going to get to Chad's burning question, and then we're going to go right into everybody's favorite part of the episode is hate to tell you, and this is where Ned's got a doozy lined up. So we'll be back in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail. We're back. Chad, I so rudely interrupted you, as I often do before we take breaks.
Good. I'm used to it.
Yeah.
So here's the question I wanted to ask you, Ned. So I was just at FS Tech, and one of the big brands, a few thousand locations, they've got a CFO. They actually have 3 people on staff that all they do is manage their back office platform, one of which they hired from that company that they work with. So it's a different level of expertise that they have available to them. I'm curious for you, like where you're dealing with clients who may have a Ned, may not have anybody like this. So how do your customers show up in the industry relative to brands that are just trying to go without?
If I can, let me pick that apart a little. So
Yeah.
clients that are contracting with Multipli, I would say, have a strong understanding of the value of real-time performance information and understand very clearly that the success of the restaurant doesn't end inside the 4 walls, that their ability to look at data and analyze it and make impactful changes at the restaurant can greatly increase their profitability. Anyone can go out and find a bookkeeping firm, and you can get your financial reports 15 days after the month's closed. You're already halfway through the month. Maybe you have time to look at them, maybe you don't. Suddenly several months have passed and nothing's really changed, and hopefully you're making money. In a lot of cases, probably not making money. Contracting with the Multipli Group will provide you with that real-time information consistently so that you are constantly monitoring the health of the business, whether it be in revenue or in your expenses or in the way you're managing labor or managing vendors. So really across the board, we provide visibility into the business.
Pretty cool.
Awesome.
All right. So let's get into hate to tell you, but this is everybody's favorite part of the program, Ned. Okay. Hate to tell you, but is a segment of the Morning Sam, Morning Ralph podcast where you get to set the record straight on a misconception
Love it.
in the industry. Ned, give us your hate to tell you, but.
All right. So my hate to tell you, but will revolve around of CFOs. Yes, finance is in the title, but I think there's a misperception that they're bean counters or only looking at spreadsheets all day. I often have told people that the finance aspect is probably 10 to 20% of my job on a daily basis.
Yep.
The other 80% is figuring out how to empower the business and empower the folks at the restaurants so that we can make more money. And the reason for that is the more profitable we are, the better I look,
Of course.
and the better the health of the business in general, and the more opportunities we have for growth. My hate to tell you, but is you're likely when you get to a CFO and you're selling your product, you should really assume that they have a pretty wide grasp of the way the business runs and the technology you're trying to
I love it.
sell.
I love it. Yeah. You know what? The finance team, They're hospitality professionals too. There's a passion there. Good stuff. Good stuff. Ned, it's always awesome talking to you. Chad, what have we learned today?
I'm going to keep it briefer than I might otherwise, Paul. But so, first of all, what we were talking to Ned about was we were just bantering around this, like finding Oz. As a tech vendor, how do you get to and then ultimately sell the CFO on your technology solution for the brand you're targeting? And Ned shared some great pieces of wisdom. I think we started with this question of, with the solution, the CFO is gonna wonder, are we gonna use this? Is it gonna sit on the shelf? Are we gonna use this really?
Right.
With all the things that can come up, right? As a supplier, know that you need a champion. You need your UI to be easy. In terms of selling it, it's going to help if you can, sure, you give a trial period, but no, that's not enough because there's still a cost for the brand to evaluate it, right? And look at agreements, etc. And that's not a small one. But if you're offering a trial period, you do your pilots, you benchmark, you're going to be in a much better spot. Case studies can go a long way to validating. Strong cost benefit analysis, helping the brand understand, are all foundational. We also got into the fact with Multipli, the main thing that a brand's going to get here is a healthy business. It goes beyond just your accounting in order, right?
Right.
A good CFO, that mind, they're going to understand the business holistically, which goes into kind of one of the myths Ned dispelled for us, is that 15-20% of his time ish is going to be on the financial side. He's absorbing all aspects of the business. And so that when you as a tech supplier contact him, you're going to get somebody who can speak and understand the whole business and how your technology solution fits in or not. So that's just some of it. But Ned, you've been an awesome guest. I want everyone listening to know, after this, if they listen to you, how should they contact you? How should they learn about Multipli Group? What would you advise people to do?
Sure, yeah. Visit our website, multipligroup.com. And my email, if you want to get a hold of me, is ned.algeo@multipligroup.com. Very active on LinkedIn, so feel free to shoot me a note over there, give me a follow or connect. Several ways, and I'm happy to talk and meet anyone.
Awesome.
Including all those tech vendors that want to sell you?
Sure. Bring
All
them my
right.
way.
You heard it, everybody.
I don't know if they're going to want to talk to me after this.
Yeah. Ned Algeo, everybody. Thank you so much, Ned, for
Thank you.
being our guest
Pleasure.
today. We all learned something, which is good for everyone, right? So
Absolutely.
thanks, guys. Until next time, we'll see you later.
Thank you, Ned.
Bye.
Thank you.